Do you guys think all sports should be gender neutral?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Why?
Because women deserve equal rights. Equal rights.
We need to move Lonzo.
That ain't no problem.
Huh?
That ain't no problem.
Well,
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
You've said in the past that you could take down a lot of men, most men in fact, but you purposely say you don't want to compete with men because you think it's going to send the wrong message about abuse.
Yeah, I just don't think that there should ever be a situation where there's an arena full of people gathered around cheering about a man hitting a woman. I really don't see how that could be right, and I really don't see how that would really help the sport at all. It would do nothing but hurt it.
So in your mind, separate but equal is how it should be.
Yeah, because it's real.
I'm a biologist. I understand the biology. Are you saying that a woman is only a person who has two X chromosomes and a man who is someone who only has an X and a Y chromosome?
I think that's the scientific definition, yes.
It's actually not, because there can be people with XXY. There can be Y chromosome inactivation. The way that this biology works is that you have genes. Those genes make proteins. Those proteins develop the traits that you define as men and women. They develop the features that you define as male. They develop the genitalia. But you can be a woman with female genitalia and be XY. You can be a man, but you can have XX chromosome.
When you do have a truly intersexed person, at that point, either the parents or when they're old enough, they can decide which way they're going to orient themselves, and they can get the appropriate surgery. But that's not what we're experiencing in our culture.
That it's okay for people to decide their gender.
In that situation, but that's not what we're talking about in our culture. What we're talking about in our culture are people with perfectly normal functioning sexual organs trying to have them removed and trying to transition to another gender, which is impossible scientifically.
All right, so throughout this whole debate, she basically loses every single point, but instead of having a back and forth, she just jumps onto her next point. Now, she claims she's an expert or a biologist, which is probably a load of bullshit, but even if you are, you don't need to be a biologist to tell me what a man or a woman is. A 5-year-old can do that. So I don't see why you think you have credibility. Even if you are an expert or a professor in any field, their job is to basically take a complex issue and simplify it so everybody can understand. All these people do is take a simple issue, like what is a man and a woman, overcomplicate it to the point where no one actually understands. So they're doing the opposite of what they are supposed to do, proving they don't know what they're talking about.
Have you ever doubted that you're a man?
No, I have never doubted.
Then what do you say to a transgender person who has never doubted their gender? You're saying that we all change and that obviously transgenderism is a product of some kind of phase, but you've never doubted that you're a man.
People truly with gender dysphoria. I've already said that. What I'm saying is the way out of that problem is not surgery according to the data. Okay? Psychiatry is the way out of that problem.
So the big difference between someone who's transgender and claims they've never doubted what they really are, they obviously they do have doubts. That's why they feel the need to have surgery and for constant validation from other people. Someone like him who is a man, he knows he's a man. He doesn't need other people to tell him he's a man. I can look at him and say that's a dude because, well, I live in reality. It's not rocket science. I can look at a cat and say that's a cat. Someone can say to me, I am the King of England. Am I supposed to go along with that delusion? No. So yeah, go and check out the full video. I'll link that down below. He completely destroys her on every single point. And of course, she doesn't listen.
I identify as trigender. This is my trans identity. And I am a man, a woman, and non-binary.
As young people, there's often a lot of self-discovery and trying to figure out who we are and trying to figure out what our personalities are. Rest assured that this is not it. That's not your personality. That needs a therapist. I don't know what else to say.
So I identify as non-binary and trans at the same time. I believe non-binary is under the trans umbrella. I'm neither, I am both, I am beyond.
I completely reject how non-binary people specifically have injected themselves into the trans label. I am a transsexual. There's a medical basis for that. There's a scientific basis for that. And for non-binary, it's really not the case. I think that non-binary is more of a political term than anything else, which is why I've never met a non-binary Republican, non-binary libertarian. It's clearly an invention of the left.
There is so much variance. You are not a trans woman of color. You are not a poor trans woman. You have
Right,
different
but-
experiences as a trans person.
Yeah, everything's nuanced, but at the end of the day, there's a very fine line between someone who's a transsexual.
You don't know my life. You don't
I'm
know
not
my
saying-
experiences with
you don't
gender
know we don't know
dysphoria.
each other's life. I'm not saying that. Like, you're not trans. Like, there's a medical definition of being a transsexual.
I'm gonna stop you. Jamie, how are you doing?
I'm okay.
You okay?
Yeah.
Do you feel like talking? You don't have to.
Just delusional. How are you going to a debate and the second you get challenged on your beliefs, you need a safe space? Someone has to step in and say, oh, Jamie, are you okay? You just absolutely destroyed. Are you okay? And you're like, no, I'm not. I can't speak. Well, don't go there then. If you need someone to emotionally check in on you during a debate where you get challenged and you can't take it, just go, just leave. You ain't living in reality.
It is a statistic that trans people experience assault of all kinds, including sexual assault, 4 times as often as people who are not trans. Do you think that someone like Leah also deserves a space in swimming where she can feel safe and free of assault as well?
Yeah, I do think that Leah should be allowed to compete in swimming. Again, no one's being sexually assaulted while they're competing in the pool, so I'm not sure I understood that portion of your question. I believe everyone should compete in sports. I just believe it should be based on sex-based categories, male and female, and again, that is to ensure fairness for everyone. I'm not telling you how you can dress or how you identify. If you want to race in the male category wearing a women's swimsuit, I highly encourage that if that's how you feel comfortable in your own body.
Okay, so this statistic that I don't know where it came from, he probably made it up, I don't know, can someone confirm that? Let me know. But either way, that statistic is completely irrelevant to whether or not men should be allowed to dominate female sports. There is no way. I've got daughters. You think I want a man, a biological man, to compete against them? Definitely not. Why don't you just make their own league where a bunch of men who identify as women can all have their own league and they'll be crying again because they'll have to actually compete against men.
Oh, Biden's not done a bad job. Why do you think he has? What's so awful?
When Trump was going to be president, everybody said World War III is going to get started. Everybody's like, oh my God, end of the world? Everybody was worried about it. This guy's going to be a dictator. That's all mainstream media ever talked about. Then he's president, 2.5 years, nothing. 0 wars, 0 issues, ISIS disappears. Then Biden gets elected. And everyone's like, this guy's going to be the president of peace. Really? Yeah, okay, cool, let's see. Shambles with Afghanistan, Ukraine and Russia, Israel and Hamas.
Okay, I get it. You're on the red team. I don't have a team like
It's not
that.
about the red team.
Today's episode of Is It a Microaggression or Is a White Lady Just Being Nice? A coworker says to me, you're running this meeting very well. Mind you, the person who was supposed to run the meeting didn't come. So it could have just been a nice compliment. What do y'all think?
Oh, here we go again. Look, today's episode of I really want to be a victim. I really want to be a victim so bad, but there's not enough racism going around, so I just have to make it up so I can post a video on social media for attention because I'm a narcissist.
Still wearing your engagement ring, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I'm gonna give it back to him. Do you want it now?
Sure. I mean,
Don't give it back. Well, no, I'm not gonna keep it. What? Here.
Thank you. That's a Bitcoin.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
Alright, that's enough of that shit today. Also, to whoever that woman was who tried saying, oh, don't give him the ring back,
How dare you?
he paid for it. You're not getting married, so give it back to him. Anyway, if you got this far in the video, thanks for watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.
75 years. That's how much time you get if you're lucky. 75 years. 75 winters, 75 springtimes, 75 summers, and 75 autumns. When you look at it like that, it's not a lot of time, is it? Don't waste them. Get your head out of the rat race and forget about the superficial things that preoccupy your existence and get back to what's important now. Right now, this very second. And I'm not saying drop everything and let the world come to a grinding halt. I'm saying that you can become a seeker. You can be loving more. You can be taking some chances. You can be living more. You can be spending more time with your family. You can be getting in touch with the part of you that lives instead of fears, the part of you that loves instead of hates.